outcome of the
That's
chicken.
not what it
because
is.
We see all the violence.
These cats is stabbing, whipping out guns, suing. This one cat was suing him for like 50 racks because he ran out of the Popeye chicken sandwich, bro. It's insane.
Yeah.
It's insane.
And what was it? Sunday night, someone was actually stabbed.
Yeah, somebody was stabbed.
And he died at the hospital.
Over a chicken sandwich. And remember, this is another thing we can't forget about is muscle memory, because we have to think about the conditions that these chickens are in. They're inside these spaces where they're crowded, there's no light, there's so many of them that they're sitting on top of one another, they're pecking on each other because chickens need space. They don't like being crowded. And it's just like a woman in a can you live in a cluttered home? You would not like living in a cluttered home. A chicken living in a cluttered area, they're gonna start pecking on each other, so they're bruised, they're damaged, they're treated the wrong way, and then they're slaughtered. And then when they transfer that meat over to that chicken breast on that bread and you eat it, you transfer that energy, that spin state of that electron that's inside that food goes inside your system when you absorb it, and now you're pecking somebody getting too close to you. But you don't got a beak, but you got a knife. So you're gonna start poking on somebody.
What do you mean by that spin cycle of that electron?
Well, when we break down the reason why we eat food in the first place, is my mother always told me the reason why we eat is to extract and assimilate the energy of the sun. We break food down to electrons. The only reason why we eat is to get hydrogen out of it, and we utilize that hydrogen to fuel our body. And when you deal with an atom is made up of subatomic particles. You got protons and electrons, but electrons have spin states. They have these different spin states, the way that they spin and they turn. And those spin states in turn is a fingerprint or a memory. So if an animal is dealing with a certain circumstance, there's an imprint or a fingerprint that is left in that animal on an atomic scale. So that atomic scale is then inside the molecular structure of that animal, inside of the cellular structure, inside of the tissue, the organ, the whole body, and you consume it and you break it down to its subatomic state. You transfer that spin into your body, and now you crazy.
Right. Because all of that accumulates in the body.
It builds
and builds and accumulates. All that synthetic chemicals. So, and they start to affect the body and how people act.
So we got the dye,
how they think.
We got the opioids, we got the natural flavors. I tell people about natural flavors all the time. One of the main natural flavors,
monosodium glutamate.
the nutritional. We ain't even getting into MSG yet. We're going to talk about castoreum.
The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said that a sound mind lives in a sound body. You will not have a sound body eating the Popeyes chicken sandwich, nor the one from Chick-fil-A. Go look on the website. On the Popeyes chicken website, there are 40 ingredients in that chicken sandwich. And out of the 40 ingredients in the Popeyes chicken sandwich, 33 of them are man-made chemicals. Go and look on the Chick-fil-A website. There's 55 ingredients in their chicken sandwich, and 35 of them are man-made chemicals. You not eating no chicken sandwich. You eating a chemical sandwich with a little bit of chicken in it.
Okay. That's why everybody out here tossing salad, because they so busy eating the anus of beavers. You see, they extract. They extract this secretion that comes out of beavers' anuses called castoreum. And it's a natural flavoring that they put inside food.
Give me an example of something they put that in. What food?
Ice cream, candies. I wouldn't say potato chips, pastries, things of that nature. You're going to find natural flavors in just about anything these days, right? So, now, if you find something that says vegan and it says natural flavor, they can't have castoreum in there because it's an animal derivative.
It's usually nutritional yeast.
Yes.
For vegans.
My mother just brought up nutritional yeast and MSG. That's the other main ingredient inside of these Popeye ingredient, monosodium glutamate. Now, what's the problem with monosodium glutamate? Let's talk about it. So, when we deal with our nerves and our brain, our nerves are, or rather the nerves in our brain are called neurons, and the neurons are broken up into parts, the cells. You have a dendrite, which is a receiver. You have the soma, which is the body of the neuron. You have an axon, which extends out, and you have a synapse. So how signals in your brain goes is the dendrite receives, the soma or the body processes, the axon sends the signal, and the synapse is the terminal that sends it to the next neuron. Now it goes in that direction when we're awake, but when we sleep and we're in our REM and we dreaming, it goes the opposite direction. It goes from synapse to axon to soma to dendrite backwards, because that's the process of regeneration. What MSG does is it overextends the backward motion of the signal. So the same process that occurs when you sleep and you dream, the MSG is doing that to your nerves when you awake. So when you go to sleep and you normally supposed to rejuvenate yourself, you can't, because you've killed and overexcited all of those nerves that you would normally be doing during the time of you resting.
Right, and the nutritional yeast does, and the nutritional yeast
does the same thing.
The nutritional yeast does the same thing as the monosodium glutamate.
That's right.
Right.
And you gotta be, man, that's for all the vegans out there who think y'all sidestepping. You know what I mean? Nah, bro. They getting y'all too. Most of these macaroni and cheeses, vegan macaroni and cheeses y'all eating, they got that nutritional yeast up in there.
The popcorn, the seasoned popcorn.
That's why you can't stop eating it. That's why it tastes so good.
It's addictive. It's addictive.
It enhances the flavor of the food. So you could literally be eating feces and no one to tell you, and you'd be like, man, what they put in this stuff, man? This stuff, this is the
literally, right? Literally.
This is the, you know, you on your capora real hard.
I just had some vegan mac and cheese yesterday, man.
Just don't eat it every day, Rich. You got people who make this their breakfast, lunch, dinner. Right. It's different if you have it from time to time. You know how to drink some sea moss and water. You know, you're doing your exercises. You know, you metabolizing it.
So it comes out.
So it
doesn't stay in and accumulate.
Exactly.
That's the problem.
That's the difference, right?
The stuff that's in these chickens and stuff, it's also making us desensitized to the violence and things that we see.
That we see around us.
In this certain sleep mode. So things that we think of or thought of as crazy before, it's the norm now, because we're in that sleep state, we're in that relaxed state.
Anesthetized.
So, exactly. So now we're no competition to anyone, because we won't even strive but so far. So even when we want to rebel, a policeman shoots somebody, we're only gonna go but so far. Then it's like back into that state. We eat a piece of chicken.
Is that a chemical culling? I'm sorry, Mom.
No, you know what? I tell people, I like to give people like analogies when we talk about, when we have this kind of narrative, right? I say, okay, this is what you go and you watch so that you get it. So in 1956, they made a film called The Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Everybody watch that and you will see what we're talking about, because that movie is showing you in, you know, entertainment what we're talking about right now.
Exactly.
So once you see that film, you'll know exactly what we're talking about. You have to guess. It's so clear in that movie's narrative.
And get up in you and take you over.
Invasion of the Body Snatchers, the original one that was made in the 50s.
Yes, in black and white, so y'all gonna have to really focus.
Right, not the remake.
For the millennials, you have to focus.
Because they made a remake, I think, in the 90s. Not that one. Not that one.
No, the throwback, the old school.
The old school one, the original one.
That's right. So yeah, stay away from that MSG. It's in everything, and go online and look up MSG, because what they do is they actually have multiple names for it.
Right.
So even though you look at the ingredients and you might not see MSG or monosodium glutamate, you'll see other names. They'll have another name they've created to hide it. So you can go online and they have a list of at least 12 to 16 synonyms for MSG. Right. And if you find any of those chemicals in there, don't use it. I mean, if you're looking at the back of anything and you cannot pronounce it or you don't know what it is,
we got 75 different ingredients.
Or
it has a whole book report on the back.
Or it's like 5 syllables, right?
You know what I mean?
Right.
Where now they turn it into an acronym.
Right.
It's TLPS. What's TLPS?
So you also So you also Google what is the meaning of a neurotoxin?
Yes.
An excitotoxin.
That's the classification.
Right? Those are the, you start doing your homework, because everybody's walking around with a computer in their hand, right? These smartphones are computers. So, just look up the meaning, neurotoxin and excitotoxin. And when you read the meaning and you see what it says, then, when you're eating these foods and you see it has an excitotoxin in it, it's like, wow, am I going to eat this today and cause all of this disturbance in my central nervous system? Am I going to give this to my baby? You know what I'm saying? Am I going to give this to my children? Knowing what it's going to do. It just helps when you're conscious.
Just on a common sense level.
Right.
You see this kind of hype behind something in a fast food restaurant, that should automatically make us say, like, wait a minute, we gotta check this. Yeah, we definitely gotta check into this because, history has shown us time and time again that whenever they come after us, they're gonna come after us, first of all, in the things that we love.
Chemical warfare.
Exactly. And it's gonna be through the food or the water or some of the things that are necessities that we have to go and eat certain things, but that's how they're gonna come at us. So as soon as you see that, you gotta be like, wait, question mark. Let me see what's going on. Let's call our brother KT and see.
Let's also understand that Popeyes does not get their name from the sailor man that ate spinach. Everybody thinks that's what they was named after. Popeyes is actually named after Popeye Doyle. You know who that is from French Connection, okay? Which is about gangsters and conspiracy. Gene Hackman from
drug trafficking.
What's the movie with Will Smith? Enemy of the State. You know what I'm saying? So go check out who Popeye Doyle is, and then you'll be like, why would they name a fast food restaurant after Popeye Doyle, bro? Then with my mother saying excitotoxin. That tells you exactly what it does to your brain. It over-stimulates and over-excites your nerves to such a point that they die and exhaust themselves.
But when you Google it and you ask for the meaning, it tells you all of that.
Oh yeah. And a good experiment for you to see, to understand exactly how it works, even with all these words we're using and nerves, and just look at an experiment where they take a mouse and they put it in a box and put a bunch of oxygen in there. More oxygen that's in our normal atmosphere. The mouse is gonna run around crazy. He's gonna be super pumped. And then he's gonna and die. That's what happens to the mouse when you put too much oxygen in the tank. He's just gonna become extremely excited and then he's gonna fall over and die. That's what happens to your nerves, that same thing.
So is that on YouTube where you can see the animation in that?
Oh yeah. You can see that experiment, not even animation. They actually have the real mouse
on YouTube.
You can see that.
But
the excitotoxins, they have animations on that now.
You gotta watch these things. You gotta learn for yourself. Do the homework. And I'm telling you, after about a good, 4 months of just constantly, because the thing about it is, once you start Googling, once you start asking for meanings, once you start going on YouTube, all of the related reference material is going to come up. After 4 months of that,
you either got it or you don't.